Huh.
Hey folks, Dane here at Jonah Guitars. Just going to do a real quick little, call it an extra on the Grizzly 24-inch drum sander. It's the 1066R. It's the double drum. Yeah. So anyway, and yeah, I'm pretty sure that this is the second one I had. The first one I sold a long time ago, and I got a different one, a newer one. Same unit. I've actually modified this one to take the hook and loop kit, which I showed videos on that previously. So anyway, in the manual it says, I think that 1/4 inch is the thinnest you're supposed to go on it, and I don't remember if I read it in the manual or if I just seen it online or just thought it might be a good way to go. Just putting a sled through. I've done that for sure with sanding veneers, just two-way tape a veneer down and push it through to get, you know, as thin as I want for whatever I'm doing. Oh, actually, I'll tell you, the way I got this newer unit after I sold the first one was a buddy of mine that builds mandolins and guitars actually gave it to me. He bought it to put in a shop that never happened for him, and so he told me just to store it, you know, until he gets the shop figured out, or asked me if I would do that actually, and I said sure. He goes, well, since you got it, you know, feel free to hook it up and do your thing. And it ended up that the shop just really never did pan out, so he just said, hey, take it, and it's hooked up, and I've been using it ever since it's been here. But as a kind of a favor in return, I sand his backs and fronts on his guitar builds, and I've got a couple tops right here. These just happen to be fir. He likes to use fir. Likes to use material that's pretty. What's the word you use? Common to our location, which fir is. Let's do this. I'm about 130 thousandths, and I usually go to the number he tells me, but I've also in the course of sanding these up for him, I've gotten to where I can kind of feel where they're in the right spot, and at about 130 these were definitely right there, so that's why I stopped. So the reason for the video is to say that you can sand thinner than a 1/4 inch in the Grizzly drum sander. I'm about to sand out the maple burl top I glued up last night, and I have sanded some sides for him, and I've sanded sides for me on semi-hollow down to 1/16 inch strips. At 130, 125 is an eighth inch thick, so this is just 5 thousandths over an eighth, and I've definitely sanded sides for him down to 90 thousandths, and like I said, I sanded because I was making laminate, the 3-ply laminate sides for the 335 I built, and I sanded those down to 1/16, so none of that caused me any kind of issues. I think a 1/16 is probably about as far as I'd want to go. I think at some point, you know, when the pressure rollers are touching the feed table, then you're probably in trouble, which they probably are at a 1/16, but it sands perfectly flat, everything works out great. So anyway, that's just you know, kind of a update thingy on the sander, just so you know, have an idea that you can, you know, things you can do with that. It's a pretty going machine, and I do want to kind of restate here at this time, I really like the Velcro hook and loop adapter for this, except that you have to reset your drums after you do that, because you add that layer of Velcro in there, and it's really kind of a pain in the butt to readjust everything, but it's definitely doable. So yeah, all right, So that's it for me for now. Just wanted to kind of give you that info on that Grizzly 1066R drum sander. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Go make some dust. Hey folks, just another little quick update here on that sander. I put the burl through, and to be honest, I was a little concerned that since it doesn't have like a straight grain direction, that going that thin and going into the into the sander, it might actually catch an edge and curl it or whatever, but it did fine. And I'm just going to measure it. I think it was down to around 120. I did keep pushing it, so maybe I'm going to check around. I remember now, I got down to, the next morning, I got down to 120, and it wasn't feeling quite flexible enough where I want to go over the arm contour. It's still a little stiff, but I am actually just below 100 thousandths, 99, 98, depending on where I stick my caliper. So it's pretty thin. Yeah. So, and the maple burl. Anyway, just to look at that, just to kind of bring you up to speed on how that turned out.